Here's what's on this episode of Formula World. As always, you can find timestamps for these stories in the description or as a pinned comment. First up on Formula World, Toro Rosso can win with Honda. Honda has been made a fool of more times than can be counted during its stint in the hybrid era of Formula 1. But it seems as though now they are on the right track, and if their partnership with Toro Rosso goes well, they could soon find themselves providing Red Bull as well. But Toro Rosso technical director James Key seems to think that Toro Rosso themselves can win with Honda in the future. The honeymoon is long over. The relationship has already become much deeper. The cooperation is exemplary. Life at the track is easier as I find that Honda responds to each of our wishes. I think it's feasible that we can catch up with the best teams, and with a bit of luck, a podium finish is definitely possible. In the longer term, we want to get in a position to win races with Honda. Liberty wants tracks to degrade tyres more. Getting racing tracks freshly resurfaced promotes higher tyre degradation, as we saw in Barcelona, and is a costly process. The cost in Spain was around £2.6 million. Liberty Media is big on the spectacle of F1, and their CEO, Greg Maffei, has come out suggesting several things he would be open to see implemented to make racing more exciting, one of which is track resurfacing. Here's what he had to say. We want to work on things like making it more exciting on track, and there are a host of really simple things we can do, from where tracks get resurfaced or tracks are rebuilt or renewed, that you have the right kind of surface so there is tyre degradation so that there are enough tyre changes to make it an interesting story. That you have the right changes, turns and chicanes where there is likely to be overtaking. So there are things around that. Ricciardo wants redemption. Daniel Ricciardo feels his 2016 race in Monaco was stolen from him due to a botched pit stop where he came in but his crew weren't ready. But the Aussie driver is keen to fight again at what he considers his favourite race of the year. Monaco is my favourite race of the year because it creates the most adrenaline and excitement. The circuit is insane. I don't want to say that we shouldn't race cars on it, because we should, and it's the best thing ever. But it's crazy to think we race around the streets so close to the walls like we do. I just love the whole atmosphere. There's a lot of intensity and the risk and reward is the best of the year. Hopefully, I'll also get some redemption. F1 has lost its message. Renault boss Cyril Abiteboul has been busy lately managing his team and trying to sort out a potential deal with Red Bull. And now, he's come out questioning F1's current position in motorsport, citing that the sport's purpose has become lost in recent years. We can't just mix it all up. The life of the engine, the durability of tyres, the amount of fuel, this is for me no part of the Formula 1 DNA. Le Mans was always about reliability, but Grand Prix racing should always be sprint racing from the lights to the flag. We took care of the aerodynamics for 2019, but important issues remain untouched. We have not talked about tyres. I understand that with a targeted degradation, the race should be exciting, but what does it mean if drivers have to save fuel? In my view, Formula 1 must be clear about what it represents for the fans. With hybrid technology, we have breathed a modern wind, but I do not understand what the real message is. We have a very good saying that to me applies in Formula 1. You should never fix something that is not broken. McLaren have caught Renault and Haas. McLaren's expectations coming into this season were to be among the top teams and fighting for podiums. While there is no question they fell short of this goal, they are still likely ahead of where they were last season. And indeed, Fernando Alonso believes that they now have caught up with the likes of Renault and even Haas. We knew that the upgrades would put ourselves in a better position in the midfield pack. We did a good step. We were 8 tenths behind Renault in Baku, 9 tenths behind in China. But in Spain, we were the same in qualifying and in the race. I think we caught up with Renault and probably with Haas as well, but the top 3 teams are still developing the cars at the same rate we do, and unfortunately we've kept that gap. Magnussen earning a bad reputation. Haas driver Kevin Magnussen is having a great season and is performing consistently well in his car, but he has also been the subject of a few dangerous driver incidents. Two-time world champion Mika Hakkinen believes that the Dane needs to be careful if he doesn't want to have a bad reputation among drivers and teams alike. I have known Kevin for some time, as I knew his father Jan, and it's good to see him producing some great results for Haas. I have mixed feelings, however, because while I think it's important for a driver to show his strength and commitment to the job, there have to be limits to what you are prepared to do in a race. In the previous Grand Prix in Baku, I feel his move on Pierre Gasly was a big mistake, and in this business, you don't have to do that very often before you earn a bad reputation. Ricciardo had no idea about rule change. Coming off the back of both Sebastian Vettel and Lewis Hamilton calling for drivers to be consulted on changes in the sport, is Daniel Ricciardo, who didn't even know what the rule change concerned. I have no idea what they have changed. I heard something that they have already agreed on some aerodynamic rules. I'm not trying to be funny, but I genuinely have no idea what they are doing or what they have changed or decided. When us drivers talk about things like this, a lot of us drivers might agree, but we know our teams won't agree, and that is where it is hard. But I think the racing and this side of stuff that we are involved in firsthand, we should be consulted at least. Hamilton on reliability versus performance. Lewis Hamilton is hedging his bets that his rival teams are pushing their power units harder than Mercedes, and believes that might hold the key to the championship given that there are much stricter limitations on power unit usage this season. It has swung a little bit the other way, so in qualifying, Ferrari are a little bit up on us, and in the race, we are pretty much the same. Time will tell if reliability is the same. We have put in a lot of work to make sure our reliability is great. We seem to have lost a little bit of performance in making sure the reliability is great, or some of the others have gained performance, but will they go the distance? So maybe we are sacrificing a bit of performance for a little bit of endurance. Fast feed. Bottas wants at least a 2-year deal with Mercedes. Horner believes his team could have kept pace with Mercedes in Spain. Mercedes engine chief Andy Cow still says that they have a power advantage. Former world champion Nico Rosberg tests the new Gen 2 Formula E car on the streets of Berlin. Lance Stroll's father Lawrence Stroll says current Williams form a rude awakening. Red Bull advisor Helmut Marko explains that Mercedes voted for the 2019 rule change because it hurts them. Ricciardo calls for hypersoft tyres to be at every race, or at least for the use in qualifying. Christian Horner says Ricciardo is keen to see our engine choice for 2019 and beyond before making a decision. Haas team boss Gunther Steiner warns F1 over calendar expansion, citing this year's triple header. Formula E set to debut next season in Saudi Arabia on a 10-year deal. Mercedes F1 team to share its know-how with its new Formula E team. And Brendan Hartley's crash in FP3 in Barcelona registered a peak force of 25 Gs. Formula World fans react. Should blue flags be scrapped? On the previous episode of Formula World, I asked whether you thought blue flags should be scrapped, and the results are in. A massive 80% of you don't think blue flags should be scrapped, although a significant 19% do think they should be scrapped, and 1% of you don't even know what blue flags are. Has F1 lost its message? Be sure to vote in the poll, and let me know what you think about this or any of the other stories in the comments. And if you like this video, feel free to subscribe and check out my other videos for all the latest in the world of Formula 1.